Zara sat in front of the glowing screen inside her small room on the starship Valkyrian Hope watching Earth videos for the 5th time that day, her eyes wide and her heart beating fast. She could not believe what she just heard again. The sentence played on repeat in her translator pod. Human males eat their females. Antenna twitched, her fingers shook. She replayed the video again. A strange-looking Earthman with a soft voice said the same line. Yes, human males eat their females, but not in the way you think. Zara turned off the screen and stared at the metal wall, her mind racing. What did that mean? What was the other way? And why did he say it like a joke? She did not understand Earth humor, and this was no time for jokes. She was chosen for a very important mission, first direct contact with humans. Her job was to live with a human male for one Earth cycle, study his behavior, and send reports back to Valkyria. Wanted to refuse. She wanted to stay on the ship and study humans from far away, but she was a junior researcher, and juniors could not say no. The council had decided, and Zara had to follow orders. Zara stood up and paced around her room. She opened a drawer and took out a small blade, a gift from her sister. Before the journey, use this only if your life is in danger, her sister had said. And now Zara wondered, would she need it soon? Ship shook gently. The captain's voice echoed through the walls. Arrival in 5 Earth minutes. All researchers prepare for entry. Stay calm and remember the mission is peaceful. Zara put on her translator band and checked her oxygen level. Everything was fine outside the window. She saw Earth coming closer, blue and green and full of clouds. It looked peaceful, but she knew looks could lie. She had seen peaceful-looking creatures eat their mates after bonding on her home planet. The shuttle landed on a flat area near a human city. Zara held her breath as the doors opened. Warm wind touched her face. She walked slowly behind the lead officer, her eyes scanning everything: trees, birds flying, a group of humans waiting at a safe distance. One human stepped forward, tall, with short brown hair and a friendly smile. He wore clean clothes and held a small flag of Valkyria. His name tag said Jack, Earth cultural host. Zara's legs felt weak. Jack raised his hand and waved. Welcome to Earth, Zara. We are happy to meet you. I hope your journey was smooth. Zara nodded and tried to smile back, but inside she was shaking. He looked strong and healthy. She remembered the video again. Human males eat their females, maybe after gaining their trust, maybe at night when they sleep. Jack guided her to a small vehicle and opened the door for her. Please take a seat. Zara followed, trying not to show fear. The car started moving, and soft music played. She looked around the city, tall buildings, humans walking, laughing. No one looked afraid. Maybe they did not know. Maybe it was a secret ritual. Jack spoke again. I know it's your first time on Earth, so I want you to feel comfortable. If you need anything, just tell me. I'll take you to my home. You'll have your own room and space to relax. Zara forced a nod. Thank you, Jack. I am honored to stay with you. She looked at the seatbelt and tried to understand it. Jack leaned over. Let me help you with that for a second. She thought he was attacking her. Her hand moved to the blade, but Jack gently clicked the seatbelt and smiled. There you go, safe and secure. The drive was short. Jack's home was clean and quiet, full of strange things, moving lights and soft chairs. Zara entered slowly, her boots making no sound on the floor. Jack pointed to a room. You can stay here. I hope it's okay. Zara entered the room and closed the door behind her. She scanned every corner. No hidden weapons, no strange smells. Just books and a bed and a small lamp. She sat down on the bed and whispered to herself, what if I'm wrong? What if he's kind and not dangerous? But then her eyes caught something on the wall, a poster with the words, I could just eat you up, written in big letters with a cartoon heart next to it. She jumped back, her heart pounding. This was no mistake. This was a warning, or maybe a sign of pride. She opened her backpack and took out a small recorder. Entry 1, human male seems friendly, but I must not forget what I saw. I will stay alert and prepare escape if needed. Outside her room, she heard Jack laughing on the phone. Yes, she's here. She's quiet, but I think she likes it. I hope I can make her feel at home. Zara moved closer to the door, trying to hear more. Jack's voice lowered. She's different, but in a good way. I just need some time to understand her. Zara stepped back. He was planning Something he was studying her too. She had to be ready. The humans had studied her. People's language, maybe they had studied more. She looked out the window into the dark sky. Earth's moon was rising cold and white. She felt alone, but also curious. What did humans really mean when they said things like, eat their females? Was it true? Or was it just another Earth trick? One thing was clear: she could not trust Jack. Not yet. Her mission had begun, and she was the only one who could uncover the truth. Before it was too late. Zara opened her eyes to soft light, entering through the window of the small room. Her body tense, her fingers wrapped around the edge of the bed. She had not slept well the whole night. Her mind kept repeating the same words. Human males eat their females. The air in the room felt safe, but her thoughts were not. She stood up slowly and walked toward the mirror. Her face looked calm, but her eyes showed fear. Today would be the first full day with Jack, the human male chosen. As her host, she had to observe him, closely understand his habits, and most importantly, find out the truth. A knock came at the door, gentle but sudden. Zara flinched for a moment. Her hand moved to her pocket, where the blade was hidden. She answered with a shaky voice. Yes. Jack spoke from the other side. I made breakfast. You must be hungry. Would you like to join me? Zara hesitated. She remembered the strange smells from the kitchen last night, rich and smoky. Her senses could not fully understand them, but she nodded to herself. This was part of the mission. She had to go. She opened the door. Jack smiled, holding a small plate with round golden objects. These are pancakes. I made them for you. His voice warm like sunlight, but Zara's mind echoed with warning signs. What if this was the first step? What if he wanted to feed her first before his real plan? She followed him to the kitchen, the walls decorated with strange Earth tools, blades, forks, spoons, pots hanging like weapons ready for use. She sat across the table, trying to hide her trembling hands. Jack poured a sweet-smelling liquid on the pancakes and handed her a fork. Go ahead, try it. I think you'll like it. Zara forced a small smile and picked up the fork. She poked the pancake, but did not eat. Jack was watching her closely too. Closely, maybe checking her reaction, maybe calculating the next move. He spoke again gently. So tell me, Zara, how does it feel to be on Earth? What do you think of us so far? Zara replied slowly. Your world is different. Your people are open. Your food smells strange. But your smile confuses me. Jack laughed in a way that made her chest tighten. He was not laughing to mock her, but enjoy her kindness. It was hard to tell. Earth emotions were difficult to read. After breakfast, Jack gave her a tour of the house, a living room with a screen that showed moving pictures, a bathroom that cleaned with water, a fridge full of meat, vegetables, and sweet items, some wrapped in colorful poppers. Zara looked at the meat, cold and red. Her heart jumped. She asked quietly, do you eat these animals? Jack nodded. Only the ones raised for food. We don't eat each other. That would be wrong. Zara said nothing, but her thoughts screamed, what about females? Then what about what she saw in the video later in the day? Jack showed her the garden outside. Plants grew in rows, and a small dog barked from the neighbor's yard. Zara stepped back from the sound. Jack laughed again. Don't worry, he's just saying hello. His name is Max. He won't hurt you. Zara relaxed slightly and walked along the path, feeling the sunlight. Earth's warmth was different, softer, and real inside again. Jack turned on the screen. A human female and male appeared, talking loudly in bright colors. Zara listened carefully. The male looked at the female and said, I could just eat you up. She's so cut. Zara gasped and turned off the screen, her hands shaking again. The phrase had returned. No one was warning her. No alarm was ringing. Why did no one care? Jack looked surprised. Are you okay? Did that scare you? It's just a show. People say silly things like that. It doesn't mean anything. Zara looked into his eyes, searching for lies, but all she saw was confusion, maybe even concern. Maybe he was a good actor, or maybe he truly did not know the danger of his own words. She went back to her room and opened her communicator. Static filled the small screen. Finally, a message came through from her superior. Observing, all going well. Prepare phase 2. Zara typed quickly. What does the phrase eat their females mean? It causes fear. No reply came back. Just more static. She sighed and closed the device. She opened Jack's computer while he was in the kitchen, curious and cautious. His browser history showed things like Alien Dating Guide, How to Be a Good Host to Aliens Like Chocolate and Romantic. Earth movies. Zara's face turned pale. What kind of research was this? Why was he learning about bonding? Did he have plans that night? Jack called her from the kitchen again. Zara, I made something special. Come try it. She walked slowly, every step heavy. The lights were low, the table had candles, the smell rich and warm. He smiled again. I hope you like lasagna. It's my favorite. Ezra sat down, her hands cold, her eyes on the food, her thoughts loud. Maybe this was the moment, maybe. Earth males first feed, then flirt, then attack, or maybe this was just dinner. And she was the only one imagining monsters. Jack raised his glass and said to new friends and new worlds. Zara raised hers with hesitation and answered to survival. Her journey was just beginning, and the truth was still hidden behind Earth smiles and soft voices. Zara could not sleep again. The sounds of Earth outside her window, the soft ticking of a wall clock, the quiet breathing of the human in the next room. Every noise felt louder in her mind, louder than the thoughts spinning inside her head. Human males eat their females. Sentence refused to leave her. She got up in the early morning when the sky was painted with pink and gold. She tiptoed through the hallway, afraid to wake Jack, though she knew he was always kind, always calm. Something still did not feel right there. Was a fog in her mind made of fear, confusion, and curiosity. She stepped into the kitchen and found the table already set. Jack was not there, but a small note rested near the plate. Good morning, Zara, I went out to get fresh fruit. I will be back soon. Enjoy breakfast. Zara stared at the note. The words seemed sweet, but her eyes focused on the knife near the bread. Her memory whispered old warnings. Her ancestors had told stories of gentle hands that turned deadly when the time came. She picked up the knife, not to use it, but to study its sharp, polished, curved perfectly for slicing. She dropped it back in place and moved toward the window outside. She saw humans walking, laughing, holding cups of hot liquid. One couple stood close, their faces nearly touching. The male leaned in and said something Zara could not hear, but the female smiled and blushed. Then he said it loud enough for Zara to read his lips. I could eat you up. Zara gasped and stepped back, her heart racing again, her skin warm with fear, or maybe embarrassment. Why did they keep saying that? Why did no one question it? She decided she could not stay still any longer. She had to find answers herself. She opened the front door and walked outside, wrapping her scarf around her neck. She remembered her training: act normal, observe, but avoid danger. The city was alive with noise, cars humming, voices mixing, smells of food floating in the air. Everything was fast and colorful. She entered a place called Market, a long path filled with stalls and humans selling things: vegetables, fruits, fabrics, animals made from soft cloth with wide eyes and funny faces. She stopped at a food stall where a female human stood flipping round things on a hot plate. Zara asked, what is that? The woman smiled, pancakes with love. She handed one to Zara, who held it like a strange artifact with love. The words echoed again. What did it mean to mix food and love? She sat on a nearby bench and watched humans eat together, share bites, laugh, touch hands gently. There was joy in their movements, but something still felt hidden, as if their language played games with meaning. She saw another couple at a small table. The male said again, you look delicious, and the female giggled, then fed him a spoon of sweet food. Zara stood up, her hands cold. She had to call Valkyria. She found a quiet corner and activated her wrist communicator. Static answered her. Then a blurry image of her superior appeared. Zara, we see your progress. Continue observation. Earth is strange, but important to understand. Zara asked, what about the phrase human males eat their females? What does it mean? Is it true? The image flickered, then faded. No reply came. She returned to the house just as Jack walked in holding a bag of fruit. Hey Zara, where did you go? I was worried. His eyes showed something soft, not anger, but concern. I went to observe your people, she said simply. I had questions. He nodded and offered her a fruit, red, shiny, shaped like a heart. Try this. It's an apple, very sweet. Zara took it slowly, unsure of what to say or feel. Jack looked nervous too, as if trying to impress her or make her comfortable. They sat together on the couch, the screen in front of them playing soft music. Zara asked Jack, "Do humans really say I want to eat you when they care about someone?" Jack blinked, then laughed. "Oh, that yes, we say silly things sometimes. It means you're cute or sweet or lovable. It's not real, not dangerous, just word." Zara tilted her head then. "Why do your people mix love with eating?" Jack smiled. "I never thought about it like that. Maybe because food is comfort and love is comfort too. Maybe because sharing food is how we show care." She looked at him differently, now his eyes full of truth. Or at least something close, his hands resting gently on his knees, his voice slower, now more open. Jack asked, "Do you feel safe here?" Jirashi answered slowly. "I feel unsure, but I am trying to understand." He nodded. "I want to help you understand. I don't want you to be afraid of me." Zara's chest felt heavy, not from fear, but something new, something confusing like trust, trying to grow inside fear. The night came and they ate together again, quiet moments between words, soft smiles shared across the table. Jack cleared his throat and said, "I hope you'll stay longer than the mission." Zara looked at him confused. "Why would I stay if the mission ends?" "Because I like having you here," he said, his voice low. "Because you make things feel different in a good way." She stood and walked to her room, not ready to answer, not ready to feel, but her hands no longer shook and her blade stayed in the drawer, untouched. Her thoughts were not clear, but one thing was starting to change. Maybe the real danger was not being eaten, maybe it was being understood. Zara sat on the edge of her bed, her eyes fixed on the small screen of her wrist communicator. No message, no update, no explanation from Valkyria. The silence felt heavy, like a warning, like a goodbye. She placed the device back into her bag and looked around the room. Everything was neat. Everything was quiet, but her mind was loud downstairs. She heard Jack humming in the kitchen, the sound of clinking glass, the soft thump of a cabinet closing, the aroma of warm food crawling through the hallway. Zara felt a strange mix of fear and curiosity today. Jack had said something different, something that kept echoing in her mind. "I want to cook something special for you tonight." Her training told her to stay alert. Her instinct told her to run. But something inside her wanted to know, wanted to see what came next. She stood up and looked at herself in the mirror. Her suit brushed clean, her hair adjusted. She did not know why she cared, but she cared. She walked down the stairs slowly, like walking into a test she did not study for, her hands tight by her side, her eyes scanning every corner of the room. Jack turned around with a smile, wearing a simple shirt and holding a spoon in one hand. "Hey Zara, dinner is almost ready. I hope you like lasagna." Zara blinked, the word lasagna unfamiliar, but the smell was warm, inviting. Dangerous. She looked at the table, a red sauce baked dish with layers of something soft, cheese, maybe vegetables, maybe something else, a glass of red liquid beside each plate, candles flickering like small fireflies watching them both. Jack pulled a chair for her. "Please sit. I wanted to say thank you for being here. It must be hard for you. New planet, new people, strange customs, but you've been strong." Zara sat slowly, her eyes on the food, her heart beating faster. She wanted to ask what was in the food, but stopped herself. Would he tell the truth, or would he lie? Would he know she suspected him? Would he act differently? He served her a piece with care, as if the food was treasure he wanted to share, then raised his glass and smiled to new beginnings and honest questions. She raised hers to her hand, trembling slightly, and answered to discovery and safe endings. They both took small bites. Jack smiled after tasting his piece, waiting for her reaction. Zara placed the food in her mouth, slowly, carefully, ready to spit it out if needed, but the taste surprised her, soft, rich, slightly sweet, something comforting. She chewed slowly, not because of fear, but to make the moment last. "This is good," she said. Jack beamed, glad. "You like it? My mother taught me this recipe before she passed away. It's the one thing I always cook when I want to feel close to her." Zara paused. The words touched something in her chest, not fear, not confusion. Something else, something almost like sadness shared between strangers who were not strangers anymore. Leaned back, his eyes calm but focused. "I know you've been nervous around me. I see it in the way you walk, the way you watch every move I make. I don't blame you. I would be the same in your place." Zara Looked down, unsure what to say, unsure if she should say anything at all. He continued, I don't want to scare you, Zara. I just want to be your friend, maybe more if that's what time brings. But only if you choose it, not because of the mission, not because of duty. She looked up at him now, her eyes steady, her voice quiet. Why do your people say things like I could eat you up? Why do you mix danger with affection? Jack laughed, not to mock her, but softly like a breeze passing through trees. It's just an expression, something silly people say when they find someone beautiful or adorable. It means nothing harmful. Just a way to say I like you. Zara thought about that word like it sounded simple, but on Valkyria, it had many layers. Sometimes like led to trust, sometimes to betrayal, sometimes it meant danger hidden under comfort. They finished the meal and sat in silence, the candles slowly growing shorter, the room warmer not just from the food, but from the quiet understanding between them. Jack stood and picked up the plates, moving toward the kitchen. As he turned, he said with a smile, I hope someday you'll teach me a Valkyrian dish, maybe something you cook for someone you care about. Zara watched him walk away, then looked at the empty plate in front of her, her reflection showing faintly in the red sauce. Her thoughts not screaming anymore, just whispering. She walked to the living room and sat on the couch. The screen was off, but the reflection showed her face. Softer, calmer, still unsure, but no longer drowning in fear. The communicator in her pocket vibrated, a small message flashing across the screen. Immediate extraction. Approved. Return to base within 24 Earth hours. She read it again and again, the words cold, final, expected, but not welcome. She looked at the stairs where Jack was still humming, cleaning the dishes, as if nothing was ending, as if everything was still beginning. Her heart whispered a question. Her logic could not answer. Would she return to her people, or would she stay to discover the truth behind human words, behind human smiles, behind human hearts? Night grew deeper, but sleep did not come because some questions are too heavy for dreams. Zara stood at the window, her eyes fixed on the stars above Earth, the night air cool against her skin, her thoughts spinning in quiet circles like slow galaxies moving through her mind. The message from Valkyria still glowing on her wrist. Return within 24 Earth hours. The mission is complete. Do not make contact with the human male again. He is not to be trusted. She turned off the screen and stared into the dark. Her chest felt heavy, not with fear this time, but with something different, something she did not have a name for in her language, something that felt like the space between danger and desire, something that felt almost human. Behind her, she heard the soft steps of Jack walking toward the living room, carrying 2 cups with steam rising like soft clouds. He handed her one and sat beside her, his voice low and careful. I made tea. I hope you like it. It's a kind of plant we drink here to feel calm, to think clearly. Zara took the cup and held it close. The warmth surprised her. The smell was light and soft like earth after rain. She looked at Jack and spoke slowly. I received a message. They want me to leave tomorrow. They said not to speak with you again. Jack lowered his eyes and placed his cup on the table, his hands quiet in his lap, his voice softer than before. I understand you have your mission, your orders. I won't stop you, but I want to tell you something before you go. Zara waited, her heart steady, but listening to every word, every breath. Looked at her not like a scientist, not like a host, but like someone searching for something honest. Inside silence. When I said I could eat you up, or when anyone says that here, we don't mean harm. We don't mean danger. It's not about food, it's about feeling. It's about emotion sometimes. Love makes people say strange things because feelings are bigger than logic, and our words are too small to hold them. Zara blinked, trying to understand the shape of his thoughts, trying to translate the feeling behind his voice. She asked, why compare someone you care about to food? Why not say I respect you, or I wish to protect you? Jack smiled a little, because food is something we need, something that brings comfort, something we share with those we love. Maybe that's why we say those things. Maybe that's why we confuse hunger with hearts. Zara sipped the tea and looked at the candle on the table, its flame small but alive, like something trying to hold on in the middle of wind and time. She said, on Valkyria, we do not speak like this. We have no word that mixes danger and affection. We say what we feel with our eyes. With our presence with silence. Then Jack looked at her with those human eyes full of confusion and care, full of sadness and hope. I don't want you to go, he said, not because of the mission, not because you're an alien, but because you made this house feel like home again. Zara stood up, unable to sit still, unable to carry the weight of his words. Without movement, she walked to the window again, watching the moon climb higher in the sky, watching the night stretch across the city like a blanket made of dreams and doubts. She spoke without turning around. I was told human males eat their females. I was shown images, words, videos. I believed them. I thought you were pretending. I thought you were dangerous. Jack stood too and walked slowly until he stood beside her, not touching, not crowding, just standing like someone who did not want to break something fragile. That's what fear does, he said. It tells stories that sound true until you hear the real ones, until you see the full picture. I've been afraid, too afraid. You'd never trust me, afraid I'd lose the one person who made me feel seen. Zara looked at him. Now her eyes soft, not in surrender, but in understanding. Emotions are confusing, she said, even for those who study them, even for those who protect their hearts. Jack reached into his pocket and pulled out a small object, round and red, with gold dust on the surface. A piece of candy wrapped in clear paper. He handed it to her. This is chocolate with strawberry flavor, something sweet. We give to someone we like, not because we want to eat them, but because we want to share joy. Aura took it slowly, unwrapped it, placed it on her tongue. The taste rich and strange and soft, her eyes closing for a second as the sweetness touched a part of her that had never been touched before. She whispered, maybe words are not enough. Maybe truth is something we feel, not something we sage. Nodded and smiled, not wide, not proud, just real. Then he said, if you decide to go, I'll respect it. If you decide to stay, I'll make more lasagna, and I'll learn one Valkyrian phrase every day. Zara smiled back, her heart no longer running from shadows, no longer hiding behind old fears. The stars outside still burned, but tonight one star inside her had started to glow too, and maybe, just maybe, that was enough to change everything. Asterisk. Zara sat in the garden under the soft morning sky, her fingers brushing over the small green leaves beside her, the earth sun rising slowly with golden light painting the house with warmth. Her heart not warm, her thoughts cold and twisting. The words from Valkyria still burning inside her. Immediate extraction required. Do not delay, do not trust the human male. She looked at the sky but did not see the clouds. She saw the ship that would come for her, fast, silent, hidden from Earth eyes. A ship that did not care about human feelings, about soft voices, about pancakes or strawberry chocolate. Inside the house, Jack was packing a small box with things. Zara had touched her cup, her favorite fruit, her drawing of earth trees, made with clumsy lines but full of focus. He did not know she was leaving. He did not know this day would be the end. Zara stood and walked toward the door, each step like pulling a stone behind her, each breath like walking through wind. She entered the living room, and Jack looked up with a smile. I made you breakfast again, he said. It's simple toast and fruit, but I added a little honey. I read that Valkyrians enjoy natural sugar. Shura nodded slowly. Thank you, she said, but her voice was quiet like a whisper, afraid of becoming truth. They sat at the table, the food between them untouched. Jack noticed something in her eyes. Something distant, something not right. He asked, are you okay? You seem far away, like your mind is flying somewhere without your body. Zara looked at her plate, then at him, her voice steady but low. I have to go back to my planet. They have called me back. The mission is over. Jack paused, his smile fading like a light turned off too soon. He asked, when do you leave? Zara replied, in 2 hours. The ship will arrive. It will not land. It will collect me from above. I must be in the open when the signal comes. Silence filled the room, not angry silence, not empty silence, but the kind that holds too many feelings in a space too small to breathe. Jack finally said, I knew this might happen. I knew you would leave someday, but I thought maybe, just maybe, you'd stay. Jura looked at him, her eyes not cold, not sad, just searching. I did not plan to feel anything here, she said. I came to observe, to collect data, to watch your behavior. But I watched more than that. I felt more than expected. Jack stood and walked to the window, his back to her, his hands In his pockets, I don't want to say goodbye like this. He said I wanted to make you dinner again. I wanted to walk with you by the river, maybe hear you say something in your own language, maybe hear. You laughed. Shara stood to her fingers tightening. At her side, I am confused. She said everything they warned me about was wrong, or maybe not wrong, just misunderstood. Your words, your way of expressing care. It was never meant to harm. Jack turned around now, his eyes brighter, but not wet, just full of something human, something strong. He asked, do you have to obey them? Do you have a choice? Zara shook her head. I do not know, but they will come. They will not wait. If I am not there, they will assume danger. They may react. Jack took a step forward. Then another. He stopped close, but not too close. I want you to stay, he said, not because of what you are, but because of who you are. You made this place feel less alone. You made me feel something again. Zara looked at her wrist, the device blinking. Once every second, the countdown nearing the end. She had to go, or they would come looking, and that would not be peaceful. She walked outside. The signal had to be clear. She stood in the open field behind the house, the wind touching her face, the sound of birds, the scent of earth grass, all of it part of a memory she was not ready to create. She looked up and saw the ship descending, not visible to Jack, not to any human, only to her. Its shape familiar, cold, sharp, perfect in its purpose. Her communicator blinked green, ready for beam, ready for departure. 10 seconds remaining. Jack stepped outside now, his face calm, but his shoulders heavy. He asked softly, will I ever see you again? Zara looked at him, looked at the ship, looked at the sky, then at her own heart. She had 1 second to decide, 1 moment, to choose truth over safety, feeling over fear. She turned away from the ship, stepped back from the light, stepped away from the beam. Communicator blinked red. Departure failed. Emergency alert triggered. Valkyrian protocol. And Gagajara did not care, not anymore. She ran toward Jack and said, I do not want to go, not yet, not like this. Above them the ship vanished, called away by its own rules, its own logic, its own limits. Below them 2 figures stood under the sky, 2 hearts beating, not in fear, not in confusion, but in a new kind of rhythm. Not yet love, not yet forever, but something real, something worth staying for. Zara stood by the window of Jack's home, her eyes tracing the sky where the Valkyrian ship had disappeared hours ago, her body still in motion from the choice she had made. Her heart no longer wrapped in rules, no longer hidden behind protocol or mission files. She had chosen to stay on Earth. Not because of duty, not because of science, but because of something she still could not explain. Jack entered the room holding 2 cups of hot tea, the same kind they shared on the night of her decision. His steps quiet, but his smile open like morning light. He handed her a cup and asked, are you okay? Have you slept at all since then? Zara took the cup and nodded slightly. Sleep was light. She said, dreams kept walking in and out, but my mind feels calm more than before, more than I remember. Jack sat beside her on the small couch, the window behind them, showing the first signs of dawn, his voice soft but full of curiosity. What will happen now? Will your people come again? Will they try to bring you back? Zara looked at the sky as if searching for a hidden message. They might come, she answered, or they might not. Maybe they think I am a traitor, maybe they think I am broken, but I think I am finally becoming whole. Jack smiled a little, then looked down at his hands. I never expected this, never thought I'd be part of something so strange and so simple at the same time. You came from another world, but somehow you understand things I never said, even to people from my own. Zara turned to him slowly, her voice steady like a calm river. I still do not understand all your words. I still wonder about your strange habits, like why you talk to machines or why you name your cars. But I have learned this: your people are full of questions, full of laughter, full of fear, and full of love. Jack laughed gently. Yeah, that sounds about right. We don't always know what we're doing, but we try. We fall, we fight, we fail, but we try. Zara placed her tea on the table and stood up, her steps light, her movements full of purpose. I want to learn more, she said. I want to see your world, not just with eyes, but with feeling, with heart. I want to understand this thing you call love, not the kind in books or shows, but the kind in kitchens and gardens and Quiet rooms. Jack stood too and reached for a small object on the shelf, a device with buttons and a small screen. He handed it to her. This is a camera. He said, if you want to understand love, maybe start by capturing what it looks like, what it feels like in moments that seem small, but are notes. Hara held the camera like a gift. She nodded and smiled, a real smile, not one forced, not one trained, but one born from something soft inside her. Maybe wonder, maybe gratitude, maybe both. Days passed, slowly filled with walks to the market, learning how to cook toast without burning it, watching earth animals sleep and dance and bark for no reason at all. Zara started a small journal. She wrote in both her language and Earth English. She filled it with observations, but also with feelings she once feared to write. One page said, today I watched Jack fix a broken chair. He did not curse or quit, he just kept trying. I think love is in how we fix things, not how we break them. Another page said, I used to think humans were dangerous, but maybe the real danger is believing a story without knowing the truth. Maybe I was dangerous too, because I stopped trusting before I started seeing. One evening, Jack showed her an old photo album, pages full of people with different smiles, some happy, some tired, some lost. He pointed to a picture of his mother holding a baby. That was me, he said, and that was her. She loved without needing to say it. She just made pancakes and asked how your day was and sat next to you when you were silent. Hara touched the photo, her fingers careful, her voice quiet. I never met my mother. She left before I learned to speak. Maybe that is why I listened more than I talked. Maybe that is why I came to Earth with questions instead of answers. Jack placed the album back on the shelf and turned to her. You don't have to explain who you are, Zara. You're enough, even with your questions, even with your silence. She looked at him, her eyes clear, not confused, not afraid. I think I am beginning to love this planet, not because it is safe, not because it is perfect, but because it is honest, even when it is messy, even when it is loud. They sat together as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting orange light across the floor. Zara took out the camera and clicked a photo. Not of the sky, not of the house, but of their shadows side by side, long and soft, stretching forward together. She whispered into the air, yes, human males eat. They're females, but not with teeth, not with fire. They eat with eyes full of awe, with arms open wide, with voices that tremble when they say stay and mean it, with hearts that hold stories too big for one lifetime. Maybe that is what love means on Earth. Maybe that is enough.